New for 96. With your hosts, Kevin McCauley and Chris Nguyen.
Delete the track.
Yeah, no, it's fine. It's fine. Good audio sesh on Saturday.
Yeah, almost a week ago.
Getting the audio correct. Yeah, nothing has changed unless this spider has been handy in my closet and spinning the knobs fast as it spins its web. My God.
I don't know what that means.
I don't either. Anyways, did you see on Twitter that thing that was trending? Someone had put clam chowder in a
Yes, I
popsicle
saw
mold.
that. Yes.
And speaking of like vomit-inducing things, okay, let me ask you this. I've been asking a lot of people this. What is your favorite way to barf? Like, do you barf in your hands and walk away with it, or do you projectile like an infant into the air indiscriminately?
No, I mean, there's times when you are throwing up into the toilet, and there is an involuntary aspect where you're like, I hope this goes where I want it to go.
What if there's no toilet? Like, what if you're at a fancy place like an opera?
That has not happened to me. I did throw up on the street once.
That's disgusting. But like, what if you were at like a nice dinner, or again, like you were at the symphony and you had to throw up? Like, would you just throw up on the ground, or would you be polite and throw up your hands and hope that no one notices?
I would do what all of my favorite sitcom stars do and find
a tuba?
a plant. A tuba. Yeah.
Find a tuba.
A large stationary pelican.
I don't know. I've gotten so much joy from asking this question to people the last week. I don't know what's wrong with me, but
That's what I say every time I throw up from drinking as an adult.
so after every podcast, you find a tuba in my home. That explains so much. My favorite tuba.
That tuba was 2 days away from retirement.
Anyways, welcome to. Oh my God!
We try to cut the length of these down, so then you start out with 15 minutes of throw up banter. We've got topics to get to. The last episode was like 2 hours long.
Legit. Okay, that's because we had a lot to talk about. We had a lot to drink, so. Something had to give, and that happened to be time.
Yeah. Is that why you're thinking about
perception
throwing up?
of yes? Okay. Well, welcome to another episode of New for 96. Okay.
Have you ever thrown up?
The word
have you ever vomited?
No, the word is barfed.
Have you ever hurled directly after a recording session of this podcast?
No, I don't. I actually don't really barf much.
Then why'd you bring it up? And for me, if you were going to ask me the same question, the answer is yes.
I don't know. I was looking at a bird eating the other day and thinking I wonder if birds barf. Anyways, I guess they do because
they feed their young that way.
Yeah, but it's not barfing. I guess. Anyways, I was thinking about that. So. Okay.
Yeah.
So shall we begin?
Yeah.
Okay. So, we were at Driver Source very recently, last week.
Yeah.
For an event. It was a Pininfarina.
Yeah, the Pininfarina Battista electric car
reveal
prototype showing.
Or not
Houston.
reveal, but
it was a viewing, and they showed it
was
off.
a viewing.
Are taking potential orders.
Yeah, it was already like, I know they had to make like a spectacle of it, but the car had already been revealed like across the world on the internet.
Yeah, you saw the crowd. I mean,
yes.
It's probably a lot of people that are not checking auto news daily.
A lot of
like
Ed
us.
Hardy shirts.
Yeah.
But even better, and while that was neat to see the concept car, even better was the location.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we've been to Driver Source multiple times because it's a dealership in Houston that specializes in interesting cars.
Yeah, they sell cars. They sell a lot of cars on bat. They do storage.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what their main line of business is, but they kind of seems to do equal measure of storage and sales and service. Maybe not equal service, but service for the stuff that's there.
Yeah, and the showroom is severely interesting, but even more interesting are the private collections.
Yeah.
And you and I had snuck into one of these collections once a few years ago.
Yeah, I was invited in on a shoot, but only for like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
But they had it all opened up, and so the highlight is this one guy's collection.
Yeah.
Emblazoned in a terrible font on the wall. But it's a lot of cars.
It's a lot of cars.
It's a lot of cars.
But like, I mean, and purposely so, because we were kind of analyzing the collection and,
Yes.
whatever you may make of that, because it was a lot of highlights, basically, and it's a blue chip collection, which is literally probably maybe how this person thinks about it.
Yeah, I mean, so
investments.
when you say highlights, there was a McLaren F1, a CLK GTR, all the big name Ferraris, F40, 50, Enzo,
LMW 002.
Yeah.
There was a 959.
Carrera GT,
There's
Turbo
a Miura. There were some just like random cars. He had
some Indy cars that presumably won things.
Yeah. Oh, 300 SL, both the Gullwing and the Roadster, and
A DB5.
DB5. So this is one person's collection in this one garage, and I mean it's really impressive to see it all at once. It is almost like going to the Peterson, except that you can actually walk up to the cars.
Yeah.
Like you can walk up to the cars clumsily with your wine in hand, just leaning over a McLaren F1. And you apparently had brushed up against the CLK GTR.
Yeah.
With your large rear end. Knocking the mirror off clear off its door. You did not, but it was very surprising that they let us mingle amongst the cars that closely.
Totally,
especially with food in hand. But so that was really cool.
It was very cool.
Yeah.
And you were saying, "Ooh, this is tasteful."
It was.
I disagreed because I say a billionaire played Need for Speed once.
Okay, but you know what? Like a lot of those cars are cars that we would probably have in a vast Jay Leno like collection, and I would say there weren't any like questionable choices. I'll put it that way. Like he had a C2 Corvette.
I mean, there was a 348.
Okay, I mean, if you're going to collect them all.
But it wasn't all. There was some omissions. I mean, I think it was...
I think the 348 is fine.
The 348 is fine.
It's fine.
Anyway, there was... The Countach was terrible.
It was a pearl white Countach. I thought it was fine. I mean, it was a Countach.
I mean, I think it was an AE.
The one, but it wasn't as bad as, say, the one that was outside that had the American bumpers.
Oh, no, that was way cooler. It was a beautiful color. It was
the
like
color
a
was
slate
nice,
blue.
But
American bumpers, period, correct. Very cool.
I guess. But fine. I didn't really like the Gallardo, but...
Oh, I don't even... It was an LP640 Murcielago.
Oh, was it? Okay, never mind. Whatever.
Still boring because it was an automatic. But
I also agree.
It was fine. So we were kind of discussing like...
I'm not going to say like it's the most interesting collection. Like, this was not like Young Timer cool, but it was like if you... Like, it was Secret Lair cool. It was like...
It was cool. It was good.
Yeah.
It wasn't... Yeah, there was nothing offensive or egregious.
Right.
It was just like, if I was to have a collection, I would want it to be more interesting and nuanced.
Yeah, because I would have a Previa in my collection. And various other dumb cars. But yeah, so other than that, I mean, maybe this fellow had other floors of the garage.
It's quite possible there was another floor of cars because there was no Chiron 918 P1 or LaFerrari.
That is
so
true.
those are probably in a different part.
If you're going to buy cars like he has, you'd have those as well, perhaps. But yeah, so that was kind of neat.
Mm-hmm.
And driver source is kind of, I mean, maybe it's like Canepa where you can go and just kind of wander around without like supervision. And I've always found that to be really interesting. Also, their showroom where they constantly have like a rotation of like really interesting cars. Always like a collection of old Maseratis. Like they've had a bunch of Boras. They had like a bunch of old Gilbys. And I'm always surprised at how they stack them because there's no like pan. And these are like old oil leaky
I think
cars.
some of them had a pan.
Did they?
On the lift.
I feel like I've seen oil drops on some of these cars before. But
there was all those paint chips on the cars in that garage too. But another story for another time.
For another time.
But
yeah. So that was neat. And then so kind of on that note, so because we're very narrow-minded individuals with very narrow interests, what do you think your tasteful Porsche collection would look like?
Okay, well, I've thought about this.
Yes.
And it would be, I would just want to have things that are not just the hits. I would want like super hits that are like obscure though, like an SCRS 924 Carrera GT.
Yep.
911 Club Sport. Probably that or the SCRS.
How many 911s would you have?
Well, I would have some 356s, but they would be obscure or interesting ones like that notchback, that Carmen notchback that we saw.
Here's the thing. I kind of don't like the notchback. I think it's cool because it's rare, but like...
I think that one was cool.
Yeah. But, it's a weird shape.
Yeah. I would want like a 904 and maybe some weird... Like any kind of race car I could get. Any kind of like Kremer road car 935 type thing.
Yeah.
But stuff that's super esoteric.
Yeah. I'd have a 914 6 GT for sure. Like just kind of countering the stuff that you've already listed because I definitely have a 924.
Yeah.
And what else would I have? There are just so many like interesting offshoots. Maybe like I think I'd have a Carrera 2.7, the like special one.
The RS?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The 2.7 RS, but no, the other one as well. The other six-figure one from 76 or so.
Okay. Yeah.
Because it's just such a different choice, and it's so normcore looking. It's the MFI one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wasn't the Carrera 3.0?
Was it 3.0?
I think so.
Okay. I thought it was 2.7.
I would want more race cars, especially because, and this is my biggest criticism, is that none of these cars get driven. So if they're not going to get driven, if they're just investments, then why not have some race cars?
No, but if you had this ultimate collection, I would say these would be cars that you would drive. These
no, if it was us, they would be driven. But yeah, I mean, I think it'd be cool if I was going to have anything to just sit and just behold. I think race cars would be.
I would say like if I could like have a Jay Leno's garage, I would own very few true like garage queens where you just can't drive it.
Right.
Like I'd want them all to be able to be driven on the road, and which would include obviously like a lot of like weird normal cars as well. But I don't know that. I mean, yeah, actually they would be. There would be in an ultimate Porsche collection. I would have, I don't know that I'd have a GT3 RS. I think I'd have a GT3 Touring.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I'd probably have a 911R, honestly.
Really? Oh.
Maybe. I know. But it was just so much more rare. Why not? I'd have the Speedster.
Oh, yeah.
That'd be cool.
That would be cool.
And I think that and as far as like newer cars go, I mean, there's just so many newer cars that you could pick. But I think I'd have a 996 GT3 if I were going to get a GT3 of any kind.
Get the GT3 RS, the Euro one we didn't get.
Yeah. And I would have to have like a Normcore. Like I'd have some Normcore ones in there as well.
Base Boxster.
I'd have a 2.7.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like a pristine, or 2.5, I should say.
2.5.
Yeah. I think it'd be really cool to have a pristine one of those. And various other things.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I'd love a 3.2 Speedster.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
That would be really cool.
That'd be exceptionally cool. Would you ever have a 993 Speedster?
I mean, they're only custom ones that have been done.
Yeah.
And they're very cool. But I think I would want, I don't know, what would be your 993 if you basically any 993 to pick from, but you've also got all these other cars.
GT2?
Really?
Maybe.
I think I'd want a real normal, like a
C2S.
just a C2S.
Yeah.
Like I think that'd be more enjoyable.
Yeah, maybe you're right. As far like my interests have never fallen into 993s, and so that'd be a tough one. The C2S would be really interesting, but so would a turbo, honestly.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Turbo S would be pretty. Like that's a hard one to turn down.
That's hard. Yeah.
Yeah. So I scratch off the GT2, and if I'm gonna have a turbo car, it'd be the Turbo S.
Yeah.
It's more discreet and more iconic, I think. Yes. So, did you know that the GT3 Spider has like a normal windshield? Like it's not like chopped.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I
didn't know that.
I didn't either. And I guess if you look at it, like it isn't chopped. It's just kind of like it has such a high belt line anyways. And
yeah.
But that is kind of a shame. But for safety standards, I don't think you can do that anymore.
Right.
So they have to accommodate otherwise visually, which I don't know if that takes away any of the magic because I kind of liked that it was a chopped roof and
yeah. I mean, I looked at it and I kind of thought my mind led me to believe it was chopped.
Yeah.
And obviously it's not. So it kind of worked. It kind of fooled me.
We have to look at it again. Maybe there's like extra cladding to like raise the belt line or something to make it look chopped, or I don't know what, but which would be maybe a shame. I'm not quite sure.
Yeah.
Does that ruin the magic? I don't know. So, okay, so we were working on the E91 the other day, my wagon, and we got things done.
We did.
Which I'm very glad. None of us died.
Right.
Which is fantastic, because all we were doing we replaced a wheel speed sensor and the washer pump, the actual washer pump for the windshield.
Yeah.
And that was much tougher than we thought it was going to be.
It was. It's kind of brilliant how the tank is like fender shaped and it's inside the fender.
Yeah.
So you got to take out the liner and pull this weird U-shaped, like very, very slim washer fluid tank out.
It's literally like 2 inches thick, and it fits in the gap between like the fender and various other components. And
like the fender and the engine bay. So you can't actually see it from the engine bay.
So you have to remove the liner, and then like you have to jiggle it out. And I mean, I can't tell if that's like smart packaging or like afterthought. So,
I mean, it seems pretty smart. I thought it was kind of very clever. I mean, it's probably only come out of the car this one time, and it's 8 years old.
Yeah, that's true.
So, the inconvenience is kind of, a trade-off. But if you're not going to deal with it all the time.
We could not get it back in. That was like insane.
Well, we got it back in once, and then we had to take it back out.
Because it started leaking because I didn't seat the dumb thing right.
Yeah.
But so now it blows with inappropriate force. So
very good.
It's fine. And so the G21 came out, which is, by the way, I had to think about what
I didn't know you were such a fan of Infinities.
Oh my god. By the way, okay, I hate modern day Infinities, obviously, like everyone should, but I liked the G20, the original one.
Okay.
And anytime they talk about the G20 Summit, like in my head, I picture the Infiniti G20, which was a Nissan Primera in Japan. So it had a special engine, and it was fine.
Okay.
Anyway, so the G21, I had to look up like the stupid new BMW generation name because I didn't know when they had moved to G. I forgot that they had done that.
Yeah.
Because they were on the Fs, so now we're on the G. But
yes, well,
whatever. And so the new wagon came out, and everyone is kind of owing over it, and I don't understand that because one, the front looks dumb.
It's terrible.
It's so bulbous. And
the headlights are so big and irregular, and then the grille is also so big and irregular. It's just
that's the 3 Series in general. The new one.
But it's like every car in the lineup has this bulging,
as you
face.
call it, series of peanuts.
Yeah, it's like this like peanut shaped headlight. Yeah. It's weirdly blobby and then oversized, and then the grille is the same. And every car in the lineup, it looks like the face is too big for the car.
Tadpole or sperm-like front, where it's just like really bulbous and disproportionate to the rear. And on the wagon, okay, here's the thing. Like when I read through the comments, like when they had posted on Jalopnik, and everyone's like, oh my god, like it's a beautiful wagon. But here's the thing: is that like ever since the E46, the rear ends have all looked the same. That's the only reason why people think it's good looking.
This one looks more than anything like an X1 or something.
Yeah,
the actual shape of the.
But they don't make
the daylight openings.
They don't make it any more rakish. It always sweeps up at the rear.
That's what I'm saying. It looks like an X1. It looks not good.
This one, it looks fine from the rear, I think. I don't love it, but it's fine. Like, I think it looks like a wagon. It's not an objectionable looking wagon from the rear, at least. But, so we were arguing earlier about whether it has the Hofmeister kink.
It does not.
And I was arguing that it kind of does in spirit, only in that the rear window has an angle.
Doesn't even have it. BMW hates being BMW, and they're kind of trying to iron out these things.
How can they get rid of it? But I don't know if they're like merging the Hofmeister kink now with the rear window line, at least with the wagon, like instead of having like a straight shot or even just a subtle curve, it angles up right from the C-pillar.
Like an X1.
I guess. I don't even really know what an X1 looks like nowadays.
Neither do I.
Apparently you do. Whatever. But that's do you know who Hofmeister is?
No, do you?
No, but I had to look it up.
Good thing we did our research.
I know.
Oh, you did?
Everyone was... because everyone was talking about the Hofmeister kink lately. For whatever reason, there have been like several headlines. Yeah, there have been several headlines this week about like Hofmeister kink. And I was like, I know what it is, but I don't know why it's called Hofmeister kink. Like, in it sounds like a really like something your grandpa did in bed type thing.
Jesus,
I don't know.
Family show.
Whatever. So, and that got me to think about like, what about like other weird car design? Like, here's the thing: the Hofmeister kink has its own Wikipedia entry.
Right.
And I was really surprised because then it like linked over, you might also be interested in, or whatever it is, it says, to the Saab hockey stick. And I remember thinking about that a long time ago when I had a Saab and was interested in Saab. And I remember the Saab hockey stick. It's a really nice design element.
What is it?
It's a rear window line. Basically, it goes straight and then curves back immediately. Not a right angle, but like a less than 90-degree angle to form the rear window shape. And so that's the Saab hockey stick. Yeah, I mean, and other cars have it, much like other cars have the Hofmeister kink. So whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. What else? What else is there?
Yeah, I thought this was a cool topic because I always like when we could talk about automotive design because I feel like we're maybe not more qualified in the sense that we're not school car designers, but we are professional designers and we have like a knowledge of this.
Sure.
And it is something that is subjective, but I feel like we have enough background.
Yeah.
And I enjoy it. When I used to do many moons ago, I did car reviews and I hated it because I would always get facts wrong and things. But if I could talk about styling, it's all from the heart.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed it. Like I enjoyed sort of analyzing.
You weren't really into facts. You just kind of made up everything. Like, this inline 3 Hyundai is fine, I guess, but the design.
Are you done?
No.
Okay. So, in fact, I was doing like a couple interview things lately about photography, and everyone always asks, the question's always like, how did you get into cars?
Yeah.
And I'm always like, oh, how did I get into oxygen?
Yeah.
But it's like I was always drawn to cars from such a young age. It was always just the design and the aesthetic and the beauty. Like that's what always drew me to cars. Like driving, even now, and I think now it's kind of strange as a car enthusiast. Like driving is kind of secondary to the look and the visual and the like artistry side of cars and the design. And I remember when I was like 16 and learning to drive, and I was like, what if I just hate driving? Like, what if I've loved cars all this time and I actually don't enjoy driving? Yeah. Luckily, I do. Yeah. But
I never thought that. I was so excited. Like, I knew I was going to love driving. But before that, I mean, you have no point of reference.
Right.
And so, like, car design is what draws you in. Like, just the emotional aesthetic.
But I don't think that's the path in for a lot of people. I think
maybe
for a lot of people, it's all the other things, the freedom, the performance, maybe the tactile feel,
I guess. Although, but like you think about like the posters that people had on their walls as kids.
I know, but I mean, I feel like I knew so many people that were never into cars until they turned 15.
Sure.
And you're about to drive.
Yeah.
Anyway, enough just on that. That was just like a thing. But I thought this was interesting, all these design cues that are recognizable, because I was thinking of some, and it's we live in a time where everything is like a marketing term. And so now if you were to go on the Lexus website, there'd be 5 things that are terms that they want to be like the next generation's Hofmeister
everything
kink.
has a TM.
Yeah, well, it's like if you can coin something, it's like, oh, now we have this ownable design trait. And the Hofmeister kink is pretty unique in that it's like known by almost everyone in cars. But I think a lot of people want things like that. So it is a very well marketed design cue. Is all. And there are design cues that are either not as unique or not as well marketed. But so let's run down our list of things that we compiled, and I would hope people would send us more. Because I'm sure there's like really obvious ones we're missing. And it's like, how do you define it? Like the Corvette split window, it's not really a design cue. It's not something that was repeated, but it is like a
fake
signature
exhaust
thing.
Tips or
right. But we'll stay positive.
Yes.
So you got the Saab hockey stick, the Hofmeister kink. I said the waterfall grill, which is a term that both Buick and Lincoln have used in the last decade and a half.
I'm trying to think what What is a waterfall grill?
It just means, I think it's even like the Chrysler Airstream of the 30s, but it's basically, they say it flows. It's like a...
What flows?
Carry on. All right, so...
No, wait. What is a waterfall grill like when a grill like starts above the hood line?
It's not defined. It's just marketing.
Fine.
But the Lincoln, it was when it was split.
Yeah. So with the spindle grill, which is next on this list, would you consider the large Audi Mall? It wasn't even. It was. You remember in the mid 2000s?
Yeah, the A6 was the first one where the bumper was kind of.
I hated that when it first came out, and I maybe still do. But I thought Volkswagen was better at it. The translation of that when they had that big shiny.
Oh, like on the Touareg?
Yeah, the Touareg or the Jetta. Yeah. Like I kind of liked that translation. Like it was kind of bold. And it really, for some reason, all of that chrome like kind of moved those cars upscale a little bit.
Yeah.
Even though people don't like chrome, but I thought it looked kind of nice. But I didn't like them on the Audis. Like it was just this big line that intersected like the hood and the bumper, and it was just a lot.
Well, I remember on the first A6, and that was the first, I think the first Audi that had the like full height grille.
Yeah.
And I remember it bugged me that the Audi rings were like in the top 25% because they were still in the old location. Yeah. And then also someone said on like a comment on like very, very, very early Jalopnik, someone said it looked like a running man yelling. I thought that was hilarious. And it kind of stuck with me. But the car definitely has grown on me. But yeah, that is a thing where it's like, I don't know if there's a term for what they had. That I'm sure they had a term for that grill. And that kind of influenced a lot of other things in the industry.
I was going to say, yeah. I mean, I think the spindle grill, say for instance, the Lexus spindle grill grew out of that.
Influenced no one.
Yeah, no, is influenced. Well, I don't know. I feel like I can't think of it off the top of my head, but I feel like I have seen other cars that have tried to do the hyper aggressive mob. But again, like with Audis, when they introduced that full height grille, like I thought that was their first departure away from like that classic '90s Audi look that I thought was just so much more solid because it was discreet, and Audi, that was the definition of Audi at the time. And I guess they are sort of discreet since they all kind of look the same, but also all cars.
Yeah. But
and the same with Lexus in a way. Like they needed to do something different to jolt sales, I'm sure. But at the same time, I think they also drove people away. Like my mom is looking for a new car, and she has an '08 RX 350. And so we're discussing like what she could possibly get next. And she went to the Lexus dealer, and she was like, "Oh, it looks fine," until she walked to the front, and she was just immediately repulsed by like the gaping maw. So now she has to look elsewhere.
I'm going to go back to the Lexus thing because, or not Lexus, Audi.
Sure.
Because I was no Audi fan, really. But I really respected what they did in that time. I mean, from, 97, 98, they had great looking cars.
Yeah,
and then they changed, but they started changing in the early 2000s, mid 2000s. And I like what they did. I like where they went. And what I really respected was the confidence and how they would show these concept cars in 2001. They'd say,
this is like the production cars.
Well, but they would show like the new, I remember like the new Volare, and they had these different concepts. And it's like, this is where we're going to be in 10 years.
Yeah.
And then they would do that.
Yeah.
And it was just so confident. They weren't reacting. I mean, you look at BMW now, or BMW the last 15 years, and they're just, everything is so reacting. Like, oh, we've got to make our coupe look like the A5.
Right.
Like all this stuff. Audi they were really confident. They were doing their own thing, and they had a plan, and they set out a target, and then they hit it. And it's like, it almost is like now they're kind of aimless. They're like, well, we went to our target. We don't really have a long plan. Let's just make them slightly fussier.
And maybe that's what car manufacturers in survival mode now have to be just reactive if they're not original, because they're all so derivative now of each other. They all have the same power plants. They all have essentially the same kind of design cues in a way. And I don't know, like it's disappointing, but at that time, I mean, there were interesting cars. I don't know, like and maybe it's just me being curmudgeonly like that. Like I liked when Audi was the extremely discreet choice in terms of just unoffensive design, but it didn't look boring either at the same time. And that era was fine.
Which one?
The ones the mid 2000s that we were talking about. So like early 2000s to like late pre-aughts, I guess, or the aughts. I don't know, what is our era? How do we like classify these eras? The aughts.
Sure.
Okay, so of that era, I hated the A8. Like it was a big kind of like bloated generic car versus like the first sleek, or not the first, but the second gen was amazing. Then you compare the 90s A6, which I would have considered the one that started in 97, with the curvy rear end.
Roof.
Curvy roof. I thought that was fantastic, and then the next A6 was bad.
The next A6 was okay. It was cleaner. It was arguably more discreet. Now you would look at it and say
it's bloaty, but it went to boring in my opinion, because then you look at the A6 wagon or the Avant of the previous era of the 97 up era. I don't know what generation that is, but that was a beautiful wagon, and that spawned the all-road, which was a fantastic like start to what would become crossovers. Probably.
No, that's not.
I don't know. It was an all-wheel drive. It was a aggressive all-seasons wagon.
Yeah. It looked to the future.
Whatever you want to call it.
5 years previous Outback.
Yeah, sure. And again, like I think it was just so much better, and the ideas were just so much more solid. While they might have stuck to their guns as far as like projecting where they would be, I don't know that it was a solid start to begin with. I mean, like the TT was interesting. Okay, I'll give you that.
TT was amazing. The first TT was amazing.
It's fine. But what was it the first year? 01?
99.
99. So I would classify that as previous, although that probably indicated more the future design language than what came out of the 90s.
Yeah.
But so I don't, and same with the A4, like the 90s A4.
Yeah, the 90s A4 was the best.
The best.
My favorite.
Yeah, the B5.
Yeah.
4, 5, I don't know. Anyways,
B5.
B5. And the one after that, actually, I liked it when it first came out, and then it kind of like, I grew off of it. I was just like, it's big and bloaty. And
it got so slap-sided, and it looked enormous. It looked twice as big. But anyway, I think we're done on Audi.
Fine. So what is side blade? Oh, you mean like the little vent?
No, the R8 has the side blade where it's not, where it had it, where it's not just, where it's like that, it was like the carbon.
Yeah.
And it was so cool.
I'm okay on that.
No, it was great.
It's just too, like, why is it there?
It was like a vent cover, and you could color, it could be colored, it was different, it was cool.
Maybe. Crescent cut C-pillar.
I had to look up this, but Infiniti has their own weird, like...
And it's called Crescent
That's what
cut?
it's called, yeah.
Okay.
Crescent cut C-pillar TM.
I can't even, like, I think I know what you're talking about when I think about, because
it's got a curvy kind of zag to it.
I hate that. I know what you're talking about now, and I hate that so much, because it's their Hofmeister kink.
It is.
Yeah, and it doesn't make sense. Like, there's no...
They should have just stolen the Hofmeister kink, since BMW's trying to get rid of it. They're trying to dump it off on someone else.
Exactly. Oh my god. And then Angel Eyes. Yeah, Angel Eyes started with the E39 5 Series, and then that began the accessory light.
I don't know about that.
I think so. What do you mean? That began the accessory light craze, because then Audi started doing like their LED strips, and then everyone started doing LED strips or just some sort of LED application.
Yeah. I was actually going to include the Audi LED daytime running lights because it was so iconic. Like their approach to it, the LED daytime running lights. I mean, it was interesting because there was a 4-year period where even like it was so closely associated with just Audi.
Sure.
And they did the right thing. I mean, they used the right technology. Angel Eyes were not LED. So Audi used the right technology at the right time at the moment when everyone had to do DRLs as part of like a European regulation.
Yeah.
So suddenly everyone had to do this thing that Audi perfected early on. And when I say perfect, I know it was like the studded at first, but they became known for this thing that everyone else had to kind of get dragged into because of regulations.
Well, yeah, and I'm still gonna claim that the E39 5 Series was the start to that idea, at least, even if like they weren't used as DRLs. I think just the notion that you could have like an accessory light that wasn't like a practical light, like it was not meant for forward projection. It was just there as an accessory of some kind.
We'll agree to disagree.
Oh my god. Whatever. Okay. So, okay. What? You're like a baby reaching for a bottle.
We'll cut this out.
Whatever. Okay, so that's all right, that's enough. Family podcast, remember? Okay, so but back on the topic of wagons, though, what do you think the best BMW wagon was?
I wasn't there like a one-off E39 M5 wagon?
Yes.
Okay, that would be it.
Okay, I'm gonna counter that with E34 M5 wagon.
Okay, yeah, that too.
That is, to me, the absolute, well, just even the E34 wagon, just in general, is the absolute perfect wagon shape. It is boxy, but not overly, like, not bad boxy.
It doesn't look big.
Doesn't look big, and it has that perfect E34 front end, like, combined with it, and that, to me, is the perfect one. And then, I don't know how I would rank them after that, but E39 would probably be next, and I'm going to be controversial. I'm not going to count the E36 Touring.
Yeah, that would be pretty much at the bottom.
It'd be at the bottom because it does not look good. I don't know why, like, it's curvy. Like, the hatch area is curvy, like curved, instead of like that straight.
Right.
Like,
you
line.
lose like that, probably the best aspect of E36.
So I don't know why they didn't make. I mean, they probably did make it boxy because it cuts cargo room, but consequently, it didn't look good. So okay, I'm gonna be controversial and say that the E91, even though I might be biased, looks better balanced than the E46 wagon. And I will say it's because I think it's a much more considered design, and even though it's bigger, they tapered it in the back, so it has this kind of fast look to it, depending on how you're looking at it. And while I think the E46 wagon looks tremendously beautiful, I think when you start looking at it just from a progressive design standpoint, it kind of looks old, but also not as good as like an E34 or even an E39. There's something about it, like the greenhouse is almost too much and too big, like not in a, I won't say like overly so, but if I were to compare an E91 to an E46 wagon, I don't think it's as tidy a design.
I'm gonna disagree,
okay.
But I'm just gonna say, actually, I'm gonna move the E39. I think the E39 doesn't rank as well for me. I think it's the worst proportioned E39 because there's something about it, like I don't know. When I was in Portland, after me and Daniel drove, we spent a week shooting this E46, which granted had like bolt-on fenders and meaty tires and everything. But we were looking at this car for a few days, and then we were in Portland. We were having a beer, and an E39, perfect, very nicely spec'd, like 530 wagon, topaz blue, parks up. Might have even been a manual, and it just, the overhangs looked too big, compared to this E46.
Sure.
Like, the overhangs looked too big. The wheels looked kind of sunken in. Like it looked bigger. It looked the most like the Ghostbusters car of any of the BMW wagons.
I put it this way, like, but you can't compare it to Daniel's, which he has an S52 like wide body M3 wagon.
I said, granted, it has the bolt-on fenders, but it's still the E39. But it seems to carry its heft the worst of any E39. That's
what I like about the E91 is that it has this kind of squat wide look to it, like where they went more sport with it than the E46 standard. And it looks, I mean, again, it kind of depends on the spec. Like if you get a base model, it's always going to look kind of floaty or roller skatey. But like with a good like M Sport package or even just the sport package with sport wheels, with wheels pushed out slightly by spacers, I think it looks sporty.
I'm going to say this is a compromise. I think the wagon aspect of the E91 is better, but I think the E46 fascia and everything looks better.
The E46, however, as a 3 Series generation, is the best looking 3 Series generation. So, and that's, I have to compute this for a second because the E36, not the interior necessarily, but like the exterior, I don't know, that's kind of a toss up because the E36, that to me is quintessential BMW. And for me, that was BMW when I was growing up, like that is it. So I don't know, that's a toss up, but both are kind of unobjectionable. Like I cannot think of an objectionable model amongst them. Even both were the best convertibles, cabriolets, and because like the E30 cabriolet had the big old like thing,
not good.
Yeah, the tonneau, and then you have the folding top for the E93, which looks awful
and weighs more than 4,000 pounds.
Yeah. So, and it continues on to whatever the current.
No, I thought the current one.
Oh, is it?
Oh no, I'm probably wrong.
I
think they said the next one's gonna be.
They announced like 2 or 3 or 4 years ago that they're going to return to ragtops, and they should because they just look. Even the S-Class convertible, like Mercedes. What is a hardtop Mercedes now?
It's just the SL.
Just the SL, meaning that all the other cars, and they look.
Well, no, they still
beautiful.
sell the SLK.
Oh yeah, they do.
Yeah.
You're right. But all the Mercedes convertibles, like even they're kind of big and bloaty now, anyways. But I think they're really elegant. Like I saw an S-Class convertible the other day, and it looks genuinely premium, like almost like it was a Bentley competitor.
Right. Right.
Yeah, so anyways.
So I was gonna say there's one picture I have where I was standing on a hill and I was shooting the E46 wagon from above.
Yeah.
And there was one angle where it almost looks very Z3 coupe like. Just that
I can see that.
That roof.
Yeah.
The way the roof was shaped.
Sure.
I'll find it. It didn't make it into the story because the lighting was really ugly.
Yeah.
So it actually worked as like a black and white photo.
Yeah.
Because I hated the color.
Yeah.
So it didn't make it into the set. But
Yeah, you're talking about the Road and Track article.
Yeah, I'll post it. I'll post it to our Instagram.
Yes, please do. And we did mention the E30 Touring, which I actually don't like.
Not crazy about it.
Yeah, although I will say that on BAT just recently there was an M3 conversion.
Oh, that's
and
cool.
that actually looked pretty amazing.
That's really cool.
Yeah, but there was something about that like notched opening that never looked quite right.
So the thing is, I remember reading that like it was sized that way so you can make it easier to load a keg.
Yeah,
and
I read that
I
too.
never found it. I was like trying to find it the other day. Like I couldn't find it anywhere.
But the thing is that like
it's been scrubbed from the internet.
Yeah, but why would you design a car just with that one?
Because it was designed by like one guy. It was like a one guy's hobby within BMW.
I guess so.
No, that's what the story
was.
Is
it?
Yeah.
Isn't that weird though? Like you think about like cars of that era, like the Celsior, say for instance, also has like a notch. I mean, it's much wider, but that was such a characteristic of like 90s trunk design where it was, instead of like making the full rear end open up, like it was just a notch to allow you to heave a thing into the trunk.
Yeah.
But why not make the whole thing instead of like just the notch? It's such a weird...
Well, because it's the same taillight regulations we have today where your brake lights have to be fixed to the car.
Is it?
Yes. Your brake lights have to be fixed to the car. So either the sides have to light up as your brake lights or the center part or the brake lights have to stay.
Okay.
And I think there wasn't a nuanced lighting technology where they could make the lights big enough.
What about the 8 Series, which had like a diagonal cut? I'm trying to think what the rear looks like off of my head. I thought like the brake lights...
We'll let you research this for next time.
Whatever. Okay.
There is the Cascada, the Buick Cascada. When you open up the trunk, there's other taillights inside it.
Oh, no.
There's other brake lights inside the trunk. So if your trunk is open, so it's like if you're broken down to the side of the road and you open the trunk, you should be able to have lights.
Interesting.
Anyway, what's our next topic?
I think we should probably move on to the game.
Wait, I was going to say one thing about you wrote down the best wagons of all time, and I was going to say if you could name your top 3 or 2 or 3. I thought of this for 5 seconds before we started recording.
I haven't really thought about it either, but I did write this down. Okay. I don't know. This is not ranked, but my favorite wagons are obviously E34, M5 or just regular.
Yes.
850 T5R wagon.
Only in yellow.
Only in yellow.
Carry on.
Or red. The same with the 850R wagon. The E46 M3 like one-off that BMW had in the museum is absolutely amazing. But going back to production cars, I will say honestly the B5S.
Oh, like the RS4. RS4 came only as the wagon.
Yeah. And the RS2 Avant as well.
Oh, that's pretty ugly though.
Oh, I love that so much. And plus the story.
Yeah, the story's cool.
Mercedes has quite a few as well. I mean, any
W210,
E63, AMG.
That was E55.
Was that 210? You're right. 211 had the 63. It had a 55 and a 63.
Yeah, 211's ugly.
I don't mind that one. I think it looks kind of good.
Yeah.
And I don't like them afterwards, where they become blobby.
I liked the 211 LCI.
Oh, the curvy?
No, when it got straight cut.
Yeah, the square. You're talking about like the square, like the quad square headlights.
That's a 212.
That's
I think that's 212.
You are right. The 210 is the quad round.
The melted. It looks like a melted.
Dial it back a little bit.
The 210 is the quad, and the 211 is the melted 210.
I'm one generation off.
Yeah.
So yes, you're right. The quad round light wagon, which we didn't get here in AMG form.
Yeah.
But that's amazing.
Okay.
And then after that would be the 211.
Yeah.
Which had the 55 and the 63.
Let's hurry this up.
No.
What else you got?
And then the latter one. I think that might be it. I was gonna say something like
no sobs.
Yes, one Saab wagon, two Saab wagons.
Okay.
Saab 9.5 Aero, pre-facelift, first gen, looked really good. Then the facelift, and then the subsequent facelift after that with the Dame Edna looked very bad.
Yes.
Second Saab wagon would be the Aero X Touring, which would be the last gen Saab 9.3, and then they had like an all-wheel drive version, but like a performance variant, and that looked very nice, especially with like Saab has always been really good at wheels, like these kind of like almost artistic sculptured wheels. Sculpture. Anyways, what about you?
All those BMWs, CTS-V wagon, very good taillights.
Very good taillights.
Very good wheel design. Everything.
Yeah, highly impractical, like design from a visibility standpoint, but it looked really good.
It's fine. Yeah. And this is my bizarro one. The Ford Focus wagon, the first generation, was the only one that came as a wagon.
Oh, I don't like that.
Oh, I like that. I remember when it launched, and I was like, "This is the best looking one."
For some reason, it may be related late.
Because they all look like crap, the ones that you see.
Right, but I remember it though. I just remember thinking like it looks like a cheap European like compact wagon.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Oh my god, I didn't that.
The first press photos of it, it looked amazing.
That car was best in hatch form. Yeah, always, in my opinion, because I like that first gen a lot.
I almost got a hatch as my first car.
Oh really? ZX3. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh my goodness. And then the SVT was cool.
The SVT was cool. I hear they ate transmissions like nobody's business.
I am not surprised. Oh, I missed out on one, which I can't believe I forgot it. The Protege 5.
Oh yeah, good choice. Those are great.
The Protege 5.
Those are great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there we go. Although, okay, one last entrant. It'd be the Mazda 6 wagon that we don't get.
Oh yeah.
The newer one, not the first gen was actually not bad either.
Also, the first WRX wagon that we didn't get here.
Yeah.
Like the good looking WRX.
Yeah.
Was a very cool wagon.
Yeah. So you're not even going to attempt the XV10 double rear windshield wiper.
I don't like that D-pillar.
It was really bad.
Yeah.
It was very bad.
Okay. So what do we got?
So it's game time. The year.
Can we answer Will's question real quick?
Yeah.
Do you think the Cayenne, and we had discussed this a little bit, but do you think the Cayenne will ever be a sought after Porsche?
No.
Here's the thing. What I find unique is the turbo.
Yes.
If you're talking like 02, 03.
Yeah, first.
I mean, that was a unique vehicle. It wasn't until like the X5M.
I will admit that I am starting to find them attractive. Yeah. Like, they don't look as bad as I thought they did when they first came out. And do you remember when Tony Soprano got Carmella?
Yeah. It was beige.
Yeah. But I think one issue is, while not mechanically linked to the Touareg, that it isn't like unique.
Right. I think that's a struggle.
Yeah. And while I think the one thing that would save it as a desirable car in the future is that you could have gotten it in a manual.
Right.
So...
But that's only on like the V6.
No, you get GTS V8.
GTS, yes, GTS.
Yeah. So, but not in the best looking generation would have been the current and last gen.
Agreed.
And you could get a manual in the previous gen, but only on the V6.
Right.
So, and then it's a 3.5 liter Volkswagen V6.
Right. And by 2010, when it got better looking, it was a wildly complex vehicle.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I think it's still complex, but I think the early ones are relatively simple in the sense of like a 996.
Yeah. I mean, we should find a manual one to drive to see if it is actually like kind of a unique driving experience, but I'm going to bet that it probably is very normal.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like a tall wagon.
Right.
So
still unique for Porsche though.
Still unique. Yeah. I mean, like when you think about the design exercise, I mean, it spawned the Macan, which I think is probably interesting. I've never driven one.
I've driven one.
Okay. What did you think? Very normal.
It's good. It's nice. I love the clamshell.
Which one?
The turbo.
Okay. I mean, like, that they have these turbo variants, I think is cool.
Yeah.
And unique, but in 20 years, are you going to want...
No.
a turbo Porsche SUV?
That's the thing. I think in 20 years, an 04 Cayenne V6 is going to be more desirable than a Macan from 2014.
I'm going to say that in 20 years, it will only be the manual variants that are interesting to
that
people.
are surviving.
Yeah, that are surviving. Because people are kind of seeking out the manual X5s now a little bit.
Yeah.
Even though it's still like that generation, although I think that generation has come into its own as far as looks go, I don't know that it's like sought after.
The first gen X5?
First gen.
Oh, that's the only good looking X5 ever made?
I don't know. The second gen did have
hate the second gen.
with the V8 with the wide stance, I think looks really, really interesting.
I just hate the fascia. Anyway, carry on.
Yeah. But and the first gen had the 4.8 IS, which I think looks really cool, sounds really cool. Like, and if it weren't a nightmare to own, that should be the car to get.
Totally.
But anyways, so short answer?
Yeah,
No.
cool.
Yeah.
Okay, well done.
Okay,
So this is
new
the game
for 84. And here's the thing that we have not actually pulled up the list here.
We haven't pulled up the list. So while you're pulling up the list, I'll give an overview for our many first-time listeners, first-time callers, hopefully. We'll give out that number later. We pick a year. We talk about each car that came out that year. 84, there shouldn't be a lot of cars. And occasionally we do a Fuch, marry, kill. What would you daily, what would you own to drive, what would you drive once, and what would you crush? So we shall see. Cars introduced in 84.
Yeah. Okay. Not a lot, honestly, in 84. There's a lot of obscure stuff here.
We'll just go through them.
Let's just go through them. And then, okay, so we're going to maybe... At the end, let's do the FMK.
Okay.
We'll go through. Okay. Do you know what the Alfa Romeo 90 is?
No.
I don't either.
Okay.
Ooh.
Well, there it is.
It's like a Fiat
got a Hoffmeister
thing.
King.
Yeah, it does. Okay. Do you know what an Austin Montego is?
That's about what I expected it to look
Yep.
like.
Also a generic like Euro economy box. The Bentley Continental, the original one, the 80s one, I thought was kind of cool.
I don't remember.
It's just basically like
impossible to find.
Yeah, it's just basically like this boxy thing. Bentleys have always been cooler than Rolls's. Oop, hang on.
Except for now.
Except for now.
The next one.
Hang on a second. Sorry, I accidentally closed my screen. Bear with this. Kevin, regale us with tales as I reconnect our projection thing.
This.
Okay, back online. Okay, so do you know what the Bentley 8 is?
No, but I assume the thumbnail will not tell us.
Yeah, no, let's see. Oh, it just looks like a Continental or something.
Yeah.
Whatever. Okay, so do you know what the Corvette GTP is?
Oh, it was one of the race cars. Very cool.
Yep. Chrysler minivans, plural. So this was the first. Was this the first? It was the first. Yeah.
Very significant.
Yeah.
I occasionally run searches for those.
Do you really?
For Alex, like to try to find like a good low mile van.
Online as Lance Tedford, who is obsessed with first gen Chrysler minivans because you can't get them in a manual and a turbo.
Yeah.
So that's interesting, maybe.
I don't think you would want either of those things.
No, probably not, especially in Chrysler form. Oh, a Citroen Axle. That actually looks kind of cool. It has like this kind of weird, because Citroen always has like weird design cues. So it has the skirt. Yeah. It's a hatchback with a skirt. Looks neat, I guess. Oh, I know what a Daihatsu Ruger is.
Do you?
Kind of. Little thing.
Okay.
Okay, 288 GTO. That's cool.
Very cool.
Ferrari Testarossa. That's cool.
Very cool. It's on many a poster in my room.
Fiat Fiorino. I don't know what that is, but it looks like a van of some kind. Ford Falcon.
XF Falcon. It's a boxy Australian thing.
Ford Maya. Don't know what that is, and no pictures. Okay.
Fantastic.
Yep. Do you know what a Hindustan Contessa is? Contessa is such a horrible name for a car. I'm sorry.
Not good.
No. Holden Astra. So that's the first of that. Holden Commodore. That's cool.
Ooh, yeah.
Don't know what.
BK?
Oh shit! That does not look good.
No, it's not so good.
No, the 84 generation was not good. Oh wow. The Isidera Imperator 108i.
108. What does it look like?
Whoa.
Oh, I remember those. I remember that from Need for Speed, I think.
Jesus. That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
It's like it's a supercar of some kind.
Yeah, I always think of Apu in the monorail. Is there a chance?
Okay, that was offensive.
I know.
The Lada
in the song.
Samara, which is, well, it's a Lada, so Lancia Thema, which the Saab 9000 at one point was based on, at least that generation. 124 Mercedes, of course, is cool. Fiero, ironically cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I rode in an electric Fiero once.
Did you
in
really?
Like 1992.
Oh my God, that's really weird.
Yeah.
It was that and also 1992.
Yeah, it was some kind of research facility in Durham, North Carolina, and they had one, and I rode in it somehow.
That is so weird. Reliant Scimitar SS1.
Okay, Renault Alpine GTA. That's cool.
Oh yeah, that is a cool
my
car.
God.
That's very cool. The
Espace.
yeah, the Espace. Renault Espace. Okay, the Rover. We won't go into that. Oh, the Saab 9000 was the first.
Oh,
Yeah. Well, I mean, like when they came out with the Lancia Thema, they had to come out with the Saab variant. Actually, that's really weird because
that's
they
not
didn't
what it
have.
looked like in 84.
No, it had bigger headlights. It looked like
Oh,
that.
I see. Okay,
Yeah.
well, I get the gist.
It's square. The Seat Ibiza. How exotic sounding, but is probably not exotic in actuality.
Ibiza.
Yep. The Skoda 130. Don't know about Skodas. Skoda Rapide. Oh, it has
That's pretty
stripes.
cool.
Yeah.
Rally stripes.
Yeah.
Subaru Justy.
Oh, yeah, that's kind of cool. Oh, the Justy does not look like what it... Oh, wait. This is not at all what I thought it was.
No, me neither.
I was thinking about the Brat. For some reason, I was looking at... Anyways. Oh, the 4Runner was the first year for the 4Runner.
What was the first year? Did it look? Was it kind of like
It
the
looked-
rodeo with the? Oh, it had the.
Yeah,
Oh,
because
yeah,
it was
the
like...
soft top.
It was
the-
pickup based.
It was the truck with the
Yeah.
lift off top.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, actually.
Very, very cool.
Toyota Carina. Don't know what that is. Looks like a Tercel or Corolla.
It looks just like that Falcon.
Yeah, Hilux Surf, which is cool, which was the Australian and Japan market 4Runner. Land Cruiser Prado. This is cool. This is what it looked like in '84.
It was the two-door.
Yeah, and I've seen a few of these
This is
around.
the FJ70.
Yeah,
Cool.
that looks really cool. That's a car to have. MR2, first gen.
Yeah.
That's cool. Love those.
The first one had handling my Lotus.
Yeah. Oh, first gen Jetta. I actually do not know if Mark 1 Jettas are supposed to be good. Do you know?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
I have no idea. So, okay. And then the last car for 84. Oh, the Volvo 740. My mom had an 85 740 GLE.
Wow.
And it was just an okay car. But, back to that search that she was doing. So I mentioned, like, what about the Volvo XC60 or the XC90? Because we had just driven one in LA as a rental. And they're really nice cars. Nice place to be if you just want a nice CUV, SUV. Good car. She was so traumatized by her ownership of a brand new Volvo in the 80s that she will never own a Volvo ever again.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Okay, so what will you FMK out of this bunch?
Oh, there's so many just bland things.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can only see half the screen.
Okay.
So you've got the W124 Chrysler van and the Isdera.
Okay. Oh, you're choosing from me
I'm
too.
choosing for you.
Okay. Well, say it again.
The Chrysler minivans.
Okay.
The Isdera and the 124.
Ooh. Well, I will F the Isadera, the weird supercar, because why not? It looks cool. I don't know what the rest of it looks like, but it has a little thing on top. Okay. What was the other one? Other ones?
The 124 and the Chrysler van.
I'd marry the 124 and I'd kill the van. Sorry, Lance.
I can't believe that.
I know, but I
Now
love
the world doesn't have
124.
minivans.
Whatever. Okay, so for you, I have the Bentley Continental.
Ooh.
Then I'm gonna have the Fiero, and then I'm gonna have a Saab 9000.
Oh, wow. You made it so easy for me.
My God.
I'm going to drive the Fiero once, daily the Continental,
Oh no. How dare you?
and then I'm sorry to the Saab 9000.
When we have Blake Z Wrong on next ep, he's gonna have something to say about that.
I don't think he will because he's not going to listen to this.
Whatever. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
That's
I think that's it.
FMK.
Do you have anything to promote?
I don't have anything to promote at the moment.
Okay.
Yeah. So, thank you for listening.
Yeah. Check us out on Instagram, newfor96.
Yeah.
Email us at newfor96, spelled out,
Yep.
at gmail.com.
Indeed.
And I think that's it.
All right. Thanks for listening.
Bye.
Bye.